Hey there everyone, and welcome to another video here on the YouTube channel. And these videos are as sporadic and as unpredictable as they can be, to the point where I don't even know if I'm going to make a video until I press record. Anyways, today the subject of the video is people we don't like. Now, why people we don't like? Uh, Obviously, it's a bit pointless to be specific as far as people I don't like. Uh, and it's meant to also cause reflection from the viewer, whoever watches these videos. And yeah, I've been thinking, why don't we like people? And is it that bad to have someone you don't like? Sounds a bit obvious, like obviously it is bad to not like people. But then why do we do it? And why is it so common? Why can't we all get along? Uh, Sometimes we get along with people we don't like. And we go about life that way. But if we can go about life that way, then why do we still not like these people? And what's the difference between people we like and we don't like? Are people that we don't like necessarily bad, and people we like good? You know, if we are the bad person, do we like good people or do we like the bad people? There's all of these. Damn, there's many flies here. Uh, there's a lot of these questions that I have. Uh, but the main thing that comes to mind to me is how much we care for people we don't like. And that's kind of the the bad part of it. Um, if we all had people we don't like, yeah, we didn't really care much for them. We just knew they weren't our kind of people. A lot of stuff would be easier. But it seems like we care more about people we don't like than people we do. We might put more energy into a thought of, I don't know, jealousy or feeling of unfairness when someone we don't like achieves something than what we do to celebrate when someone we like uh, conquers something good. Uh, when we see someone we don't like do something good or value, it seems like we work extra to justify, okay, this is the exception to the rule, um, rather than understand that that's all in a gray scale. Um, Obviously, not all people are like that. Uh, some people kind of flip. Like some days we like them, some days we don't like them. It also depends on the person itself having those feelings. I feel like a more empathetic person will kind of flip and like wonder, give it like a mental second chance. Oh, this person is turning out. They're not so bad, or in these situations or things like that. We give them the benefit of the doubt. We put things in perspective. But sometimes we just can't do that. But why do we care so much? If it doesn't affect our livelihood, why do we care so much? Sometimes I feel like we don't like people because they're a roadblock to us. We have to deal with them. We have to prove something to them. We have to be in their presence. We have to interact. In that sense, it's more normal to not like someone. But sometimes we don't, and we still don't like that person. Sometimes we can't even put a finger on why we don't like someone. We just don't. We just don't seem alike. But when I think about how we don't like people who have differences towards us, I realize that sometimes we don't like people who are just like us. It sounds ironic, but I also feel like we want our space. We want our identity. And sometimes it's normal to be protective of who we are, of our status. If someone comes along and they're the newer, fresher version of us, then we're like, I don't know. We start to put flaws in them, try to justify where they are not as good as us. Sometimes we also don't like people because they're too good, which is another irony of things. In sports, it's very common for the winningest team to kind of be like the villains. Everyone wants to cheer on the underdog. Uh, Sometimes you can be a villain by just winning. You can be disliked by just being too good at something. Uh, One example, although here it's not like a win-lose situation, but one example would be The Rock or even DJ Khaled. These are celebrity kinds who I'm not that big of a fan of, yet they're very popular. But according to my tastes, my enjoyments, I don't understand why they are popular, because they don't appeal to my interests. So when they gather attention, accolades, or whatever in detriment of the artists I like, that conjures up a dislike of them because they are succeeding while I want others to succeed. They have what I want, not me specifically, but the artists that I like. As a recent example, I watched UFC, and this last night, uh, a fighter beat my favorite fighter, and obviously he did it fair and square, but he beat my favorite fighter. So I wish it had happened otherwise. So obviously, although I respect the guy who won, don't necessarily like him because he took the victory away from my favorite. Now, obviously, the more level-headed and in control of your emotions you are, the more understanding you have of things, and you respect people who do something of value. And the less emotionally invested you are in something, the more rational you are to react. But this example of the fighter that beat my favorite fighter is something that happens uh, all the time in life. We tend to be biased to those we like, and we try to rationalize our failure, and we put these kind of bad characteristics on someone because it couldn't have been our fault. So that brings us back to, why don't we like people? How much of it is that person's fault, and how much of it is our own? And do they care for us? If we don't like them, do they not like us? Do they care for us? Who's winning? Are they winning because we dislike them, so we put so much energy, so much poison in our body thinking of them? Or are we winning because we are not the bad people, quote unquote? And why does these feelings sometimes consume us more than the good feelings give us, some kind of happiness? I don't have the answers to these questions.